Alrighty, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Bojan Petreski. Today is January 18th, 2023. This is the first stream of the new year. Hope everybody had a good holiday season. I know it's been a bit since we've been on here. Hopefully, everybody's kind of the holiday blues or ups or downs, whichever way you want to call them, are behind us, and we can get started with some trading for this year. I'm just going to give everybody a few more minutes to get started here. In the meantime, I'll just go ahead and go through the disclaimer there for you, that this is for educational and instructional purposes only. And I forgot to fix that. But while that's slowly trickling in, today's chat room key is 15464. Make sure to install that Speak Up app, which allows you to essentially anonymously chat with us here or anybody that's going to be joining us live today. Of course, this is a temporary room. It will expire in 24 hours, and we'll be going away after that 24-hour period. All right, that's really taking its time, and I have to talk to Jose to fix that. But nonetheless, if you haven't already, I'm just gonna double check that this is good. I just sent my hello on that Speak Up app, so make sure to get that installed. And of course, the disclaimer is there underneath anyway. So we'll be getting started with today's session. Today's session is essentially trading and review. We'll be reviewing trades we've taken. And on top of that, we'll be going over any sort of information that you want to go over, review any of the trading that we've done. And if there are any questions, any comments, anything like that, we'll be getting addressed during this session. Of course, if we don't, have the time or enough time to be able to address everything, then by all means, we'll be taking care of that as we go along. Let me just double check that everything's looking good here with the audio. Okay, perfect. It is set on the right one. I don't want to do another hourly session and I find out, after I looked in a different place that it was muted. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the charts today for right now. We'll be focusing more on Forex and crypto today, mainly because I've just not been trading futures for the past couple of weeks, actually a few weeks now, mainly because I'm having some issues with my NinjaTrader that we're working with NinjaTrader and Jose also to get resolved. So in the meantime, though, let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to pull up some of the trade screenshots I have here from a while back. So there was one trade in particular that was it this 4-hour Bitcoin? Not quite. It might be on my laptop. We were essentially looking to go long on crypto. Let's switch this to the daily, somewhere around here where this vertical line was. So on November 30th. Okay, so I don't know if we already looked at this one yet or not. Let me see if I can find the trade screenshots. Yeah, we were looking. It's on the 4-hour, so it wasn't on the daily. It was on a 4-hour that we were looking at. Obviously, it ended up getting canceled. Now, why did we cancel it? Well, it's a very, very easy answer to that question. We looked at this climate at that point of time. It had 4-hour candles, right? So 4-hour dots. So that's, it was on the 16th hour of up climate, right? And at that point in time, it makes sense for this to go for 6, right? So 6, so it typically goes out, typically goes up for 20 hours. All right. So we had another, 4 hours in this trade where it would have made sense to actually, take the trade. Naturally, though, we didn't take the trade, obviously, because it expired, right? It was past the point. But after a second look at it, it may have been close to activating on that next hour, on the 5th hour. So that was one of the things that I just wanted to kind of review with everybody and just to get an idea. If you have any comments on that, for example, if you've seen that happen before, please, share it with me in the chat. Of course, the chat that I mentioned is right here. I know this one is, I'll show this right here. So there it is. So today's chat room key, 15464, in case you missed it. Have you seen something similar happen basically where most of it, or not most of it, but sometimes when you go in to take a trade and then ultimately, that trade may end up working the way it's supposed to be working, right? It's going to the way where it's supposed to go. But you ended up canceling a trade because of a different rule. Or perhaps you ended up still taking the trade and ended up working for you. So I just want to hear kind of from everybody that we have here, how has your trading been as far as climate essentially expiring or coming close to expiring, but you ultimately either take it or listen to your plan and do not take it. Right. So this trade, if we got in here, right, there's a very good chance that would have. So let me just kind of open this up a little bit. Okay. Maximize pain, but doesn't maximize the pain. Cool. Ultimately, though, looking at this trade right here, right, if we got in, let's say around this area here, there's a very good chance that somewhere around here we would have been stopped out because of this drop down. We could have also looked at some information here to see if there was anything, but as we see from this day to about this day, we were in a down climate. Now, then we had 3 days of unconfirmed climates, and then this is the first day this climate opened up on Bitcoin. And on top of that, just to make it extra fun on that first day, as you see, it actually did end up touching the 9 EMA moving average. So there's a very, very good chance that if we were watching this and if we were paying close attention to it, there's a very, very good chance that we would have gotten a fill there, right? Probably no fill anywhere after that. So as you see, none of these candles, even though they're massive candles going upwards, none of them have touched the 9 exponential moving average. And looking at our plan and the way we trade this is, right, we have permission to take trades when the 9 exponential moving average overlaps in a UFO. Well, for that to actually happen, an overlap to happen, we need the candles to actually show us that. And the only one here is this one right there. Right? See, so the only opportunity we may have had was going to be on Friday, January 6th. Anything after that, you essentially missed out on this whole move. And now it's obviously it's too far, right? A little bit perspective on certain things. We do have quite a few, quite a bit of shakeup happening in the crypto space. A lot of projects that were over leveraged on shorting this ended up getting liquidated. A lot of traders, I forget what it was, something like $175 million was liquidated in a matter of 15 minutes on one of these spikes, which is, again, it's an insane amount of money to just liquidate. But very similar things were happening on these spikes down, on these drops down. Looking at the overall picture in just cryptocurrency right now, we are at a point where we need to see what happens here, right? Because not only do we have this previous top, this obvious previous top, right? But right above it, we have almost as if it's a trap, right? We have a UFO right above it, where the line has been drawn. Okay, so it is. This is it. I would say this is a very, very important UFO to see what happens with this UFO. I would say, something along the lines of, based on what we can anticipate happening at these tops, is if Bitcoin is indeed finally going to be going towards the upside, maybe to do a retest, maybe either a 50% or a 60% drop from this top here, another retest of this high, another drop, and then a test of this upper area. Now, here is where that critical point will be. All right, because we have multiple tops here that we need to come through to be able to consider this. Okay, now it's in an upswing. Let's go ahead for it. Are we going to be? Am I going to be taking trades as things progress? Absolutely. But as far as like the long-term swing stuff, I would say I still haven't added on anything to my bags. And in the crypto world, it's a very known term. It's a very, your hodl bag. It's just a term that's used that, no matter what happens, you're just not going to sell, right? Bitcoin could go down to $1 and you're still not going to sell. Let's hope that doesn't happen, right? But ultimately, that's what you're stating when you just put stuff in your bags instead of trading it on leverage. Now, given where we are currently in the crypto space, given that, could this be the bottom, right? Could this that we're looking at right here be the bottom? I'm willing to bet that maybe it is, right? I'm willing to bet that maybe it is. Now, how much of it am I willing to bet? Now, this is me personally. You can do with your money what you would prefer. But ultimately, I'm still not going to go too heavily in right now, because I'd rather, if this is the bottom, I'd rather buy maybe something here, something here. If it comes back down to the 17,000, something there, but then keep going as it goes up. Yes, that's ultimately going to drive your average entry price a little bit lower, but I'm okay with that instead of saying that I'm going to be the guy that's going to call the bottom, right? We're not in the business of calling tops and bottoms. We're in the business of making where we can justify our exposure to risk. And I can't justify my exposure to say, okay, this is it. We're 100% in right here. you know. So let's take a look at some of the information that we have here. When it comes to Bitcoin, let's go ahead and go down to a 4-hour time frame just to see if there's something that we could take here. So we're going to take that on the 4-hour and 21-minute and 55, just to see what kind of information we have on each of those. All right, looking like we may have something here. Just kind of expand this and make it a little nicer. We are on the third one out of typically 7. So we're definitely not too late to this party. We're on the third one out of 7, and it's currently, going through the moving average. The moving average being at 21,264, that would qualify this UFO on the 21-minute for execution. So let's go ahead and do that exactly. Our final target, according to this chart, will be 22,048. So we do have space to go in on this. Let's go ahead and get this set up for us. Connect to broker exchange. It's never asked me that before. So I'll just connect it to paper trading. All right. So we're going to go in and buy. Our entries at 21,427. Take profit, stop loss. So 21,200 even is the bottom of the UFO. And we're just going to add 20 bucks to this. This is Bitcoin. Risking 250 bucks. And what I do like about this is it tells you the risk percentage. So according to what's happening here, right, this paper trading account has $7,800 in it. You can certainly change the balance to whatever you have, so you can get that percentage right to the T. Okay, and I just realized that the caption may be covering something here. I'm just going to turn off the caption because there we go. So yeah, this is the paper trading account that I have open. Again, it says, this is just a random balance from pluses and minuses in the past. But this percentage of this $250 that you're seeing here, the percentage of 343 is based on how much you have in your account balance or your account equity. I'm not sure which one it is. But for example, when you're flat, obviously it's equal. But if you have open orders, then that may be different. All right. So our entry being where we're going in right there at 21,427. Take profits at 2407 ticks, 2407 to stop. Now, how long should this trade be active for? Okay. We're looking at, this is the third one out of typically 7. So we still have another 4 times 4-hour increments. So we still have another 16 hours. So essentially, by tomorrow noon, my time, okay, obviously, you can convert that on your end as well. But this will be good until tomorrow at 12. Okay. And this is, in military hours, or as the rest of the world calls it, normal time. All right. So by tomorrow, risking 250 to get in. All right. That's our first leg. Okay. And now let's put in our second leg, which is 21,427. Profit stop loss remains the same, but the take profit is going to be 22,048. And go ahead and buy that too. All right, there we are. So just to kind of document this properly, so we are risking $500 essentially is the risk. T1 is at 250 and T2 is at 651.52. All right, and of course, we're going to throw on a vertical line of what we were looking at when we were looking at this. Why is it like that? I do not know. Default purple line thicker. Default full. Okay, we're gonna throw one on here as well. Like that. Unless it's it's the same exact. It's the same exact. What's it called? Shortcut. Okay, and we're gonna throw this one on here as well. Now, what, especially when it comes to TradingView, I like this feature quite a bit. Whenever you're getting in long or short, you can also kind of visually draw the orders themselves, and we can even make it to the same point of, I think it was like 3.35 or something, right? 21.27, and our profit is at 21,661.4. Our stop is at 21,180. 21s. 80. All right, and that's our first leg. Now, obviously, we said that this is going to be active until tomorrow noon. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to visually draw this up as well to go until the 19th at 12 o'clock, which is around here. So basically at the next tick right here at 12, this will already be invalid. And there we go. Looks like we might get filled on this while we're in the session, which is pretty cool. What I want to do is also do another one of these, and just going to overlap it a little bit here to show that our final target will be up there at 22,048. 22,048. Okay, that's that. And of course, last but definitely not least is we got to take a screenshot. So make sure to take a screenshot of every trade that you take. This is 0118. We have BTC 4-hour setup long. Save that to Google Drive so we don't lose out on it in case it doesn't get through. Now, something else that I just want to mention here. For example, with certain instruments, not necessarily Bitcoin in itself, certain places, definitely Bitcoin too. Let's say you were to think, okay, this is not going to be kind of a short-term trade the way I set it up. Let's say, this setup makes sense. We're going to get in, and that's fine. Even though just for comparison, remember where we were on the daily, right? Just to give you a comparison, this is where we are on the daily. So I would say to get in on those, kind of longer term swings on the overall picture, we're at a point where we may see some profit taking and or, more people getting in short to see if we can retest this lower. Could this be the area where we just go from here and on up? Certainly could. But as far as short-term trading, you can take it basically anywhere you want to on the curve. Whether you're looking at, just the auto climate itself, whether you're looking at, chart patterns and looking at this as a W pattern, whatever the case may be. Ultimately, what matters the most is where you're getting in only matters, I would say, if you're going in for a longer term hold, longer term swing, mainly because, right, if you're going to get in here and you're planning on holding this for months, right, it's going to be a certain difference is going to be if you got in around these 18,000s area versus up here at the 21s, right? Especially if you're going to hold it for months. You're going to be profitable either way, let's say, but ultimately, when it comes to short-term trading, you don't care as much about the fact that it's up here, because the short-term time frame, right? A 4-hour is a sixth of a day, so you're looking at 6x magnifying glass when it comes to what's happening on this chart here, right? Certain people will even go out to weeklies or monthlies, and they'll say, well, the weekly, look where we are on the weekly. Does this look like a good spot to take a long at? Sure. Absolutely. given the fact that the previous months we were at the 60,000s, now we're at the 20,000. I'd say yeah, it's a pretty fair spot to get in. So like I said, it really just depends on which directions, which way you're going. When it comes to short-term trading, I would say this location does not matter as much because there's a good chance that we're not going to capture as much of this longer-term swing trading up and down, unless you have certain plans in your rule where you can just turn a trade that has started as a short-term trade and turn it into a swing trade. All right, so it looks like we do have a fill. Looks like we are filled on this, which is awesome that we are filled right in the session. So that means this is definitely not going to be a time stop. I'm sorry, it could very well be a time stop. This will definitely not be something that we have to worry about canceling due to time. Due to the climate becoming overextended is what I'm ultimately trying to say, right? Because we got in on the third one out of typically 7 4-hour increments that this market goes up for. Okay, so we'll let that do its thing. Oh, the last thing that I wanted to mention is the fact that certain places will let you stake the crypto that you're buying. In the event that this, for example, Bitcoin, you can't stake on a platform that you purchased it at. There are plenty other ones that will do it. Bitcoin in itself, I think the highest stake for the US that I've seen was it was a 3% at one point. I'm not sure what it is right now. I can find out while we're on this. Of course, I'm on my phone. I don't think you can stake Bitcoin on Binance. No, you can't. On Binance.us, I'm talking about, not Binance.com. I think on Binance.com you should be able to. Yeah, you cannot stake it on Binance.us. On Abra, you could stake Bitcoin, but unfortunately, due to different regulations and different items that have developed during these past few months, the only way to get into Abra right now is to be an accredited investor, which to do that, you need to have made 200,000 plus income for the past 2 years. And they have different ways and means of doing that. But for example, Abra, if you got in before that, gives you 2.25% APY on Bitcoin. All right, so there's a couple places. So for example, if you were to be playing this for a longer term play, I would say something that we've spoken about in the past is to have that additional benefit of, even if the position goes against you, if you're going to hold it for a longer time, it's a matter of perspective. If you're going to trade this trade the way I'm trading it right now, short term, right? We have our entry, we have our exit, we have our final target. That's fine. You can certainly do that. Let me just actually set a quick reminder here. Not a horizontal, right? I need a horizontal line. So if price gets up to here, I essentially need to sell. I need to sell half the position because it won't do it itself, just the way it is with sell half reached. So I can know that this is here. Okay. No, it hasn't. Okay, I'll have to take a look at this, but I don't understand why it just beeped when here. All right. Get that removed for now. Ultimately, the way it works with TradingView is I have to sell half of this position for T1 because, as you see, it ended up canceling the T2 up here, which is why it makes sense to draw this visual drawing here to be able to, better to be more accurate, essentially, especially when it comes to these trading setups, mainly because if you forget about it and it just ends up stopping you out, you got nothing to worry about. But if it ends up going to T1 here, it won't. It'll basically take the whole position off at this 515 area. Okay, it's not going to take anything up here, and that's just something with TradingView paper trading. It's not anything with that other platforms. If you're using another platform, it won't work. All right. Other than that, let's see. All right. What else did I have to talk about? We talked about staking. We talked about staking Bitcoin, right? That's not very much. It's not as popular in the U.S. as it is, or at least available in the U.S. as it is around the world. Especially if you're using Binance or other, liquidity pools and so on. But just not to go down that rabbit hole too much. I just want to double check if there's any questions on anybody that's with me right now. Okay, looks like we're good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch gears. We're going to go ahead and take a look at. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some Forex pairs to see, since we got our first crypto setup here and ultimately ended up triggering, which is awesome. We're going to take some crypto off here and we're going to go to some of the majors on Forex. Of course, the Euro USD being the first one. Okay, let's see here. Euro USD confirmed up climate, currently on the second one out of typically 5. Right into, dab smack middle into an opposing UFO, though. That's never a fun thing to see. We could utilize our rule where we essentially skip the next opposing UFO. It's just that as of late, I've been finding out that is ultimately a bit of a sorry, 1 second. Okay. Yeah. That means it's a bit less probability, but let's say we skip this first opposing UFO and we take this trade the way it is. We analyze it the way it is. So our potential entry around this area. This is the 4-hour Euro USD. So we're going to look at the 21-minute and the 15-minute, not the 55. I'm sorry. Why is the interval not all the way here? Yeah, there we go. That's what it was. I must have unchecked a little cross there. Okay. So yeah, the 15-minute and the 21-minute are the ones that we look at with the 4-hour time frame, and then of course the 5-minute and 8-minute are associated with the hourly climate right there, and the 15 and 21 are associated with the 4-hour. Okay, and then the 55-minute and the hourly are the ones that we look at when it comes to the daily. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going. We do have a few UFOs here, which is why this looks very promising. The moving average is at 108.30. 108.30, which would be right within this UFO here. Okay, so we may actually have a trade here. And on top of that, there's another overlap of a UFO here. So that means our stop will be right under that 108 area, which is not bad. All right, let's go ahead and set this up. So we're going to be buying. And of course, our final target is we're going to skip this UFO here, this first one, because it's already been penetrated right there, right? This is the wick that's in there. It's moving quite strongly from it, which, again, that's expected from UFOs. That's where probabilities come in. So then we're going to be going at 108.339. Of course, we round up to 4. Take profit, stop loss, risking 150 on Forex. You could certainly change this to 250 if you want to. It's up to you. Different brokers will give you different leverage. What is available for us in the US, is a different story compared to what's available around the world. Stop loss. So our first stop loss that we see, our first UFO that we see here is 108.20, right? But 108.20 is right inside this UFO here on the 15-minute time frame. So we have to go down lower than that. So it has to be 108.07, right, is the bottom of that UFO. Now, I was trying to find this earlier and it wasn't working for me. So let me just find it, see if I can find it again. There we go. Our handy dandy little chart of when it comes to buying, selling, and rounding up, right? Because Forex is also a decentralized exchange type of a situation, right? There's no central exchange like there is for futures. So what one person sees with their broker may not be what another person sees with their other broker. So we give a little bit of rounding up. We do a little bit of rounding up when it comes to figuring out the entries and exits. So that's why we use a little bit of rounding up, like it says here. So for the entry, we're going to round up and add 2 pips for the entry. For the stop, we're going to round down and we're going to take away 5 pips for the stop. And the same thing for the target. We're going to round down opposing time frame UFO and take away 2 pips. All right. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, you certainly can. I'm just going to double check this here to make sure we're looking good. Looks like we are. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So we already rounded up to 34, and we're going to add 2 pips for the entry. So that's going to be 36. Okay. Our stop loss is going to be that 108.07 is already rounded down, and we're going to take away 5 pips. So this will be 2. So we're risking 34 pips. Of course, our first target is 1-to-1. And last but definitely not least, we have another, we have 3 4-hour increments. So that means 12 hours from now, this trade will be invalidated. So 12 hours from now is at 7 p.m. Pacific, so my time. Which would be 1900. It helps that I'm European. All right, and we're going to go ahead and buy this. So it's going to expire today at 7. Everything's set, risking 2%. Never a bad idea. And there it is. That's our setup. And now for our final target, we're going to be doing the same entry, 1.0836. Take stop loss remains the same. However, the final target is 1.09562, right? We're going to round this down, so 56, and we're going to take away 2 pips. So this will be 4. All right? Apply that again. There's that setup. Okay. Now, last but definitely not least is I have to take some screenshots. All right. Now, I also want to have the position captured properly here. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did earlier. So our inputs, we're doing with that. Risking 2%. The lot size should change based on, well, it's going to change based on this. Oh, it's 36. We're going to be, our first profit level is at 1.087. And the stop should be 340, so that should align. Okay, so 7,000, 2%, 1.36, 340. Okay, perfect. Let's save that. And we said that this is going to expire by 7 tonight. So right here. Okay, and now we're also going to duplicate it and just move it a little bit off so we can know that there's a difference there. Same thing, entries at 108.36, 340, 340 is what it was. However, instead of 108.70, we have 1.0954. All right, and that's our setup there. And just for ease of understanding, we're going to do these everywhere so we know what we were looking at that exact time. All right. So that's that for this guy. Let's hide that up there. It's just so annoying. Sometimes stop is up there, entries up there. We're good to take this screenshot for the Euro USD. So this is the Euro USD 4-hour setup. And today is 2023-01-18. Okay. Let's save that. I'm like, where did my Bitcoin go? And didn't end up saving in the right place. There it is. So we got those 2 longs there as well. All right. Now, ultimately, what it comes down to is, excellence in execution. And that may sound a little funny. It may sound a little like a catch. It really isn't. Especially, right now we're in a relaxed mode. We're just kind of looking at this. We got time. Everything's looking good, right? What sometimes will happen, especially when you're day trading, is you have to execute with the same precision that you're executing right now when things are moving fast, right? Otherwise, you miss out on it. Otherwise, if you will panic and if you will make mistakes, that will cause you to either go into that panic mode or just something's going on and you just can't handle it. I would say definitely practice, because you need to be able to be, working in such a high stress environment, because the markets will be shifting up and down, right? The market was a confirmed down climate right here. The market was a confirmed down climate right here. There's a very good chance that when this one opened, it might have been a red confirmed down climate, right? And then it ended up just skyrocketing up, closing above, the last, essentially, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 candles. And not just that, the next candle that it opened, it's an up climate. And if you were watching this and you were close to it, there was a chance that you would have gotten even filled because you see this wick. We can actually see it if we roll it back. Let's say we roll it back to here, right? We were thinking, okay, it's still time to be buying here. So let's go to the next one. Look at that, right? It's still looking good to sell, and then the next one comes, wicks up and down, so that there must have been quite a bit of activity happening there. And on top of that, it's a red UFO, a 4-hour UFO that just got eliminated. And because of that, obviously the climate also changed. So now you're asking yourself, okay, well, what do I do now? Right? Climate's unconfirmed. Well, obviously you do nothing. Climate's unconfirmed. But the next over, the next one over, right? We have a okay, well, this time I didn't make the mistake. Maybe I think it's because this one is not loaded fully, so that's why it won't let me. So this is right there. You saw that one came to this 108.23 around 2 o'clock my time. So if we were to roll this back, to let's see, 2 o'clock my time would be somewhere around. So that's 2 right there. So right here, all right, there's a UFO there at 108.36. The moving average here was 108.265. So this UFO 108.4 would not have worked. However, if we roll it forward, you wouldn't have been filled. Oh, there we go. That could have been an opportunity right there. 108.36, 108.223, 223, 108.223 would really be, yep, it would have been inside that UFO. So right there, right here at this location, right? So you went from going short and being stopped out to having the discipline to execute with excellence on this position here, right? This is your entry. So, and this is that you definitely would have had a chance to do this because this would not be an olive colored UFO if price hadn't touched it. So that means that this UFO was formed most likely due to this candle, and you still had time to get in on that candle right there. And so as you executed there, let's say your stop was around here, this 108, 195 area. There's a very good chance that T1 would be right here at 08439. So moving it forward, you already got T1, and you actually got T2 as well, because at that time, your T2 target would have been 108.745. I'm sorry, no, that's wrong. 108.745 is your T2, so you're still riding this to the upside, and right there is your T2. Right, so the markets shift on a dime. Right, you have to shift with them if you're going to trade this short term. If you cannot do that, if your personality says, no, I can't do that, that's okay. That's more than okay. That's you being fair to yourself. If you think that you'll be unaffected by having 3 losses in a row, and the fourth one you're not going to take because you're afraid, and then that's the one that's going to work out the T2 that would have wiped the slate clean to those 3 losses, then you should also reconsider either practicing some more or perhaps choosing a little bit of a swing strategy or something like that. Day trading in itself has its own tools, and I would say, mindset wise, you need to be really, ice cold, right? You need to understand that sometimes you are going to see a few losses in a row, and sometimes you're going to see a few wins in a row, right? That's all in the same thing. It's all in the same bag, let's call it. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of it for now. We're almost at the tail end of our session. If you have any other questions, please feel free to type them in the chat. If you don't know where the chat room is, it's right there. It's 15464 is the chat room for today. It's fully anonymous. There's no if you have any questions that maybe you don't want to share with the rest of the crew while we're on these sessions, feel free to type them there. Or if you have any other questions, please feel free to send them my way, tradewithufos.com/Bojan. Several of you have done it, and I give you my honest and truthful. It's just a matter of communicating and opening up to be able to understand that certain aspects, certain things happen in the markets that really just don't happen anywhere else. And as long as you're prepared for it, go right ahead. All right. Before we close up the session, I just want to take a look at Bitcoin, see how it's doing. Okay. And interestingly enough, on the 21-minute and the 50-minute, it's pretty much the same UFO. So our stop is valid where it's supposed to be there. So that's pretty cool. I just want to make sure that if price touches this 21,659 area, we get an alert so we can close half this position right here, which is it's easier to do that, especially through this console here. You could do close, and it'll ask you, like, do you want to close the whole position? You want to protect some of the position? Whatever the case is, you can always adjust it through there or through the chart trader. All right, that's kind of it for today, folks. Not much futures trading today, as I mentioned, but that's why we also have other asset classes, right? I have fairly good computer knowledge. I have fairly good, technical skills when it comes to computers. But here I am, for about a month now, I have just not been able to trade futures, mainly because of something that's going on with my computer. Maybe it's other things that are just not in front of us right now. But ultimately, we do have other asset classes that we can trade, and it's not an issue. So, all right, that's that for the session for today. Thank you so much for those of you that watched it live with me, and thank you so much for those of you that are watching this recorded. Thank you so much, and take care. Bye-bye.